Welcome back to another episode of Journey of this Wounded Masculine. And my name is Brandon.
And I'm Shane.
And yeah, thanks for tuning in to our YouTube podcast show where we discuss the dynamics between masculine and feminine and how we as men could become better men and like really hold space for the feminine in our lives.
Absolutely. Yeah, so this is officially episode 3. We're a little confused on our Q&A thing, but we're just going to do the Q&As separately from the episodes as we take away. So please, also one thing we wanted to share is a Facebook group that we're created called the Journey of the Wounded Masculine. So enter some discussions there. Any questions you have, and we'll just start a conversation. So we'll put a link in the bottom of the description here at the YouTube video, and click on that, and you can come over and create any topic, any discussion you want to have with us.
Yeah, let's all talk about this together because, just from sharing with my friends, this seems like to be a topic that a lot of people are really interested in, have a lot of questions, and we want you to be part of the discussion.
And not only that, too, you with that said, we're also focusing on the wounded masculine, but in turn, it is the feminine as well, because we are also healing that feminine nature inside of ourselves and also allowing that masculine to be healed, which in turn heals the feminines around us in our personal lives.
Yep. It's a I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It's like a reciprocal kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
it's always giving.
I've personally, my healing process lately has actually been a deep healing of my own feminine energy, which has been really powerful, and I'm sure I'll get more into that some other time.
Sure.
But today's topic is we're going to discuss authenticity and vulnerability today. But before we get into it, if you like what we're doing and you want to stay updated on future videos and all those kinds of things, just be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, hit the bell for notifications, so that way you are updated anytime that we upload new content.
And we just want to share this message with as many people as we can, to reach as many people, as many men, as many women as possible. So that helps us do that. So it makes it more relevant content as well. So,
yay.
Yeah. Do you want to do the quote?
Yes. So you got a quote prepared.
Okay.
To enter into this conversation.
I did, and the reason that it really hit me is I sent it to you earlier in the week. And this is the basis of why we're doing what we're doing here. And this is the real goal of what Brandon and I want in our personal lives, but also want to share with you guys. This is the whole intent and the actual goal. So let me read it. It's a quote by Mind Engineering, and I'll put the source down in the bottom here. It says, "An awakened man is a force of nature. Not speaking of his physical stature, I am speaking of his heart center. The divine masculine's heart, once ignited, is powerful, yet gentle, complex, yet simple, confident, yet humble. Within his authenticity and unbound heart, he inspires others to become free and live life transparently. An awakened man so genuine in his intentions, he can leave you breathless with his actions. In his vulnerability, there is a sacred sexuality that can only be embraced by a partner who matches his frequency. He is not caught up in the simplest of physicality. He only chooses sacred intimacy. He has anchored a new divine energy. You feel so secure within his company. An awakened man is so very rare. When you find one, you had better fully be there, as he is not in need of anyone to complete him. He is already there."
Wow.
Right?
Yep. Every time I hear it, it just hits me harder. And I really feel like that does truly encompass what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. I mean, you think about the porn addiction that all of us men have had. Well, not all of us, but most of us.
I'm pretty damn close.
Yeah. I mean, that piece about, that sexuality piece, making it sacred and, in the bedroom with your intimate partner, whoever that may be. That piece right there is just it blew me away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my goal personally, is to live that way.
Yep.
To step into my highest version of myself. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So this topic that we're talking about today came out naturally from the last episode. I had a little bit of a vulnerability piece that I shared about my past and hiding behind the stairs when I was a young boy. It didn't come out till my mom had called out for my name. And I walked away from that episode. Well, even before I left here, I said, I just feel like crap. I feel like complete shit right now. And I felt like the episode was crap. I just walked away like kind of with my head down. And, you know, and I have a 45-minute drive home from here on it. You know, we were doing it on Tuesday nights. And usually we'll have a call with Kelly. Like, we'll do a recap and talk about it. She was busy and I wasn't able to talk, but it really made me sit with how I felt. And I had no idea how I just felt like crap.
Yeah, I remember you saying as you left, you're like, man, I feel crappy about this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did the whole time. And I went to the grocery store when I got home, or not got home, but before I got home. And I was just running around the grocery store, still feeling it and still trying to figure out what was going on inside of me. And then I finally got a hold of Kelly. We talked to each other after I got to the grocery store, and she really held space for me to be able to figure out what it was. And the problem is that every time that I had ever been vulnerable in my life, in a relationship, or even sometimes friendships, it was always used against me. Like, you want to share these things with people, but yet they use it against you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the piece that I was struggling with. And I had to be vulnerable with Kelly. I had to be vulnerable with this new audience that we're talking to. And it's out in YouTube land for everyone to see, to hear, to judge, to whatever. And I'm okay with that now. But I wasn't in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, vulnerability can be really scary sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, because we're opening our hearts to the people in the world. And, you know, for a long time in my life, I decided to just be very choosy on who I open my heart to.
Sure.
Because some people can just stop right on it. But now as I'm grounding myself more in my manhood as I get older, I'm realizing, like, I'm so solid in myself that if someone doesn't accept me for my vulnerability, that's on them.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm being vulnerable, I'm living with an open heart, and if someone's going to judge me or think ill of me because of what I just shared, then
that's on them.
That's on them.
Right.
That just means that person has stuff to work on or heal in that aspect of life that they can't handle. So,
and that's one of the hardest things for me, is when you do get some criticism, or you do on that vulnerability piece, you know, it comes back at you. When they attack you with your own vulnerability, like you said, that's on them, and that's a part of them that they need to heal. But to be more grounded in those moments is difficult, because sometimes you're just hurt, pissed off. Pain comes out as fear, the fear of the pain, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just.
Well, anytime someone does attack you for that, yes, it's a challenging moment, but it's also an opportunity to stand firm in who you are and not fall into this other person's projection of what they think you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really valuable and important lesson that my life has thrown me into some really deep, scary kind of situations before, just to teach me those things. And yes, it was challenging, it was scary, but I came out the other side of it, and I'm stronger, and I know who I am more. And as I do that, it's just like, it's really hard to sway me anymore. It's like, well, I know who I am.
Right. Yeah. And the more authentic you are to yourself, the more authentic I can be to other people. Like, you know, the mask concept. We wear these different masks at work, or we may wear different masks around our family at Thanksgiving. Who are we when no one's looking? That's us unmasked. Or around really close friends. Like, I don't have a mask with you. You know, I don't put on some facade. But it happens a lot in our daily lives, where we're trying to fit into a group, or trying to get that job with an interview, and you portray yourself to be something you're really not.
Mm-hmm.
Is that even real? I mean,
it's not real, but here's the thing with the mask is, you know, it happens on an unconscious level until you become aware that you're wearing a mask. And even once you're aware, like, fully taking it off is scary.
Yeah.
How are people going to perceive me?
Right.
You know, this kind of brings up a story I have a woman friend that she was just explaining to me she went through a deep thing this week of really realizing the the mask she wears and just decide you realize this week and put the mask down. And I was really happy to hear that from her, and she expressed just, well, how scary is this?
Sure.
How are people going to perceive me? How what are people's reactions going to be to me when they meet this other person? And it's like, well, some people are going to love it and some people aren't going to like it.
Right.
And the people that don't like it, they can hit the road.
Right.
Like, it's as simple as that. And this is one thing I really love about being an authentic person, is it surrounds you with the people that are right for you.
That's true.
Because the people that love you as the authentic person, they're your real friends. They're the people you want close to you. And if people can't accept you for all of you, shadow and all, then they don't deserve to be in your life.
Yeah. There was a saying, back when I think I was in the military at the time, and it said a good friend will come get you out of jail. A great friend will be in jail with you. Seemed like a good idea at the time. So that authentic piece of, just being who you are. I did this DISC assessment for work just recently, but I had done one previously. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So it's a personality, like the placement of where you are. A parrot. I think the new things are like parrots, eagles, doves, and owls, and it's a comparison to birds. And the DISC assessment basically broke it up into 3 different columns. And the first column was who you are at work, who you are in your personal life, and then an overall category. And I thought that was really interesting. And the reason I thought it was interesting is because I'm proud of this, like not in an egoic way, but hey, I'm making progress here. Because mine were pretty close all the way across the board. Who I am at work and who I am in my personal life and who I am overall was pretty much on the same spectrum. And then, as we were doing it, who you want to portray at work can be completely who you are in your personal life. And that's not meaning it's a bad thing. It's just maybe it's an area that shows those vulnerabilities that you don't give at work. Mm-hmm. That you're not willing to put your heart out there or to be wounded again necessarily. So.
Well, a lot of times the workplace isn't the place to have your closest friends.
True.
Unless you're doing something like this.
Right.
That's great. But I think we also have to find the value in masks sometimes when relating with the greater world.
That's true.
Yeah, it's great to be truly authentic and not wear a mask with the people we're close to. But you also have to realize, sometimes it can be dangerous out there in the world to be truly authentic.
And then to that exposure piece, like, what is it something, like you have a deep, dark secret, and we all do. We all share these types of things. We're humans, not, we're all individually, meaning, like, we all see through our eyes and we're unique to our perspectives, but we share so many common things that we're more alike than we're different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've had to learn this lesson pretty deeply around, you don't share your deepest, darkest secrets with anyone.
Right.
Because not everyone has dealt with their deepest, darkest secrets, and there can be like an energetic backlash on that and cause some problems in life. And those deepest, darkest secrets get saved for the people we're close to. I mean, this is one thing I really love about early on in our friendship. Toronto, we sat there in the condo thing up in the high rise and shared our deepest, darkest secrets right there.
Yeah.
And it was powerful.
It was.
It was really powerful, and there's not many people I have gone that deep with. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That was special.
Yeah, I love you, dude.
I love you too, brother.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's levels. So you maybe not have the masks, but you're not willing to expose this part of yourself to just anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you trust people at different levels. Like this person you're just getting to know, so you may not want to go that deep with yet. But as you build trust with each other and know that you have each other's back, oh, I can go this deep with this person. But it's very few people that can do that with.
Well, it takes time to build trust.
Sure.
I mean, trust has been a major thing for me in my life. I've always been a really open person, and one of the biggest things for me, a big struggle for me, is I was just too open. You know, I've dealt with some deep, dark things from my past, and just being that open and vulnerable with people right off the get-go, you know, they're like, well, I'm out of here.
Keep getting crushed because they're not receiving it.
Yep. Yeah.
And that
so
creates more wounds, right?
Yep, it creates more wounds. And then eventually over time, it's like, well, you got to learn. Okay, you wait to build trust with people, to share that. And, you know, that's been my journey these last few years of building relationships and friendships and lovers and all these things, and letting things mature slowly, like at their own pace over time.
Yeah.
And then as you get to know someone, you really trust them on another level, and it really allows that heart-to-heart connection to really blossom.
You know, you bring up a good point there. It's like putting that out there too fast can hurt us by not giving us what we're expecting in return. People just meet you where they're at, right? With the depth that they've been able to go in themselves. There was a quote I had, but this is kind of sums it up, is that people can only meet you in the depth that they've only met themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so if you're giving that vulnerability to a person who hasn't been there themselves, they just don't even understand what you're talking about. They just think you're a weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
And the other thing I'm noticing that's pretty interesting through this journey is, now that I have some people I can be that vulnerable with, I feel secure.
Yeah.
It's like you don't need much. You only need
a handful.
Not even, you know, one or two or three people that you can go deep with, and then it just takes all the pressure off everything else. It's like, oh man, I'm like secure, I'm attached securely to myself, and I have support around me. What else do I need? And then that opens up a space for really more natural friendships to come in.
Sure.
You know, it's like you don't feel like you need it. So as soon as you don't feel like you need something, guess what?
It shows up.
Here come the flood. You know, the floodgates are open.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, and I think part of me sharing my vulnerability in doing this podcast, YouTube stuff, is in the, I don't know, was it last time we did the video, the Q&A?
Yeah.
It was one of the times, you know, we're reviewing the footage afterwards, and it's just so funny watching yourself and all the little ways, you know, catching the ways I talk, all of the filler words, like, you know, all of those things.
I've done it a couple times this podcast.
Yeah. I'm sure. I think last time I started counting halfway through, I was like, wow,
right,
that's a lot, and that's hard to watch and accept. But the great thing is as long as we don't beat ourselves up about it, like, oh, here I am doing those things. There's the awareness. Now I have more awareness. Now I'm building awareness as when I'm saying the things. It's just better to leave space.
Sure.
It's just better to leave space than to fill the space with meaningless words.
True. It's true.
You know, and that is, I just love doing this podcast thing because I see this as pushing us both to grow, to be better communicators, to be better men, and then share that journey and the growth with the rest of the people that watch this.
It's funny you bring that up because I didn't tell you this piece. I kind of teased you a little bit before we started the podcast. But yesterday I was looking at my personal YouTube page, not the channel, and our episode popped up on my need to watch things, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, whoa, that's us. And then my ego jumped in there like, ooh, oh, you know, I felt like, well, who are you to do this stuff? Look at all these people with these millions of views and this and that. And, you know, it just kind of beat myself up about it because it's like, you know, we're just two friends having a conversation that we wanted to really capture what we had to say because many people shared their interest in wanting to know what we had to say. But the egoic part of me, or even my insecurities, popped in at that time where I'm like kind of worried. I was like, oh, and then I was able to ground myself. But I felt that nature come in, like, well, and it's been pretty successful so far. I'm really happy with, the amount of feedback we've gotten from people, and just in what we're doing, and the reason that we're doing it is way more important than actually doing it. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah.
Yeah. What else we want to talk about tonight? We want to do the feminine perspective. You want to get to that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, feminine perspective on, is this on authenticity and vulnerability?
Yep. So it's going to be the feminine perspective. So we ask every week, and then Kelly's kind of heading this up right now about what the feminine perspective is on these topics. So I'll just read what she had to say, and then we can talk about that.
Okay.
All right. So vulnerability for me means releasing the hardest exterior and this facade of strength for everybody to see. To truly let your guard down and absorb the emotion that are brought forth, and actually be able to release them. To be able to cry and not be ashamed. To be able to feel and allow healing. To humble yourself and admit when things are not perfect in your own eyes, of high expectations that may or may not be attainable. And to do all of this in the presence of the one that you love, knowing that they will hold space for you and accept you for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That crying piece is huge. Like, even for women, they've been shamed for that too. Don't cry.
Oh, we've all been told not to cry.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the generations before us. So you just put your head down, you do your work, you don't cry about it. Feelings don't exist. I look at my parents and a lot of my friends' parents, and just how emotionally disconnected a lot of the previous generations are. And I think this is a big thing in our generation of really coming back in touch with that emotional goodness, because there's so much there in life. There's so much there in the emotions that adds so much to life. If you don't take the chance to be vulnerable, you're really missing out on an opportunity to feel some of the deepest, most beautiful things that you can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, that kind of reminds me, didn't you say a Bob Marley quote or something earlier that kind of sounded like that?
Yeah, you about said it yourself there. Bob Marley says, being vulnerable is the only way to allow your heart to feel pleasure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the more present we are being vulnerable in that, present in anything, not just vulnerability. Well, let's be present drinking this cup of coffee. How many things are we thinking about as we're drinking this cup of coffee, right? But if I just take the presence of it and just really taste it.
Totally focus on it.
That's pure.
Mm-hmm.
It
kind of brings up for me, I remember reading, I don't remember where it was from, but there's a teacher that explains that, the best time to meditate is while you're eating. To bring all of your awareness and focus on the chewing.
Sure.
And the enjoyment of your food. And if you can really ace that, that's presence.
It's funny you say that, because today I made some fruit. These fruit stacks. I don't really know what I'm going to call them yet. Kelly and I started it, but I made some for Zach, my boy. And what I do is I do a slice of banana, a slice of strawberry, a raspberry, and put a blueberry on top of it, and then I put a little bit of strawberry cream cheese.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so when you throw that in your mouth, it's like this. I call it a foodgasm, because it's all these flavors.
Why aren't there any of those here right now, Shane?
Yeah, I should. Next time. Yeah, but they're fantastic. But like you say, if you just close your eyes and be present, like that meditation while you're actually eating, because meditation doesn't need to be silent and empty in a mind or in that space. It can be shooting a bow, riding a bike, carpentry.
Anything.
Yeah, anything.
Really, anything that you're doing, to be fully there and doing it. I mean, to me, that's actually the real practice of meditation. meditation where you go sit down and meditate, that's like preparing you
Sure.
to be fully present. I went through years of doing a lot of sitting meditation and things like that, and then now I'm more in a doing phase now, where how do I be fully wherever I'm at, and how can I be in any moment relaxed and just present there, and it's possible even in some of the most challenging, stressful situations. You can be cool, collected, and there.
Yeah, a spiritual badass can be in a meditative state in the midst of chaos.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
pretty
I
good.
mean, that's what being truly, truly grounded really means.
And that's like you said, that sets the foundation, right? So I did a nice meditation this morning because I felt a little bit kind of all over the place, and I sat myself in that meditation and just really focused on my breath, allowed my mind to not allowed. I didn't want to control anything, but I just focused on my breath and allowed the mind to clear, and that gave me a groundedness that I could take into doing other things, that I can be present, because that presence is the authentic piece. Don't you think? Like, if you're truly present doing what you are, you're truly authentic in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, partially.
What do you
I
mean?
think authenticity also, I think we need more than presence, because I really believe you can be fully present and still have a mask.
Explain.
You can still be present, but still not be authentic.
What do you mean? Do you anything come to mind?
Let's, how to explain? Oh, to me, presence is like being here in this present
Sure.
moment fully. And I still think it's possible, maybe even on subconscious levels, that we can be here in this moment, and there might be still part of us that's not fully authentic. I mean, for instance, we're here recording this, and we're reaching certain levels of authenticity
Sure.
with this, but then there's also deeper stuff there that,
We
we're
can't-
not comfortable at sharing yet.
Right.
Because
That's true.
we're sharing our hearts with the world, and so we got to build a relationship with the world
Right, and
first,
ourselves.
and ourselves, to get to those places where we can share that stuff.
Yeah, and we're gonna get there. I really truly believe.
Oh,
that.
that's my goal.
Yeah.
I want to share some of my deepest, most challenging stories from my lifetime. There's a lot there. I look forward to getting into it, because I really want to inspire people that come from really challenging situations. Just off the top, addiction, sexual abuse, having parents that aren't healthy,
Sure.
and
Abandonment.
all
We're
kinds
speaking of our own things.
yeah, these are the own things, and I would love to get into those sometime, and it's
Sure.
going to happen.
Yeah.
But
And I was on welfare. I mean, my mom and I were on welfare. We know what government cheese is like. We come from humble beginnings. Both of us do.
yeah.
And that's the truth of it. And we've had some pretty challenging upbringings, and our families. Also, I mean, most of my uncles had passed away from alcoholism or one form or another. So it's just it's really. We're not here preaching from the rooftops and thinking we're above everybody. We're not.
Oh, no.
We're in the trenches with you guys and doing this along with you. So that's the whole purpose of why we want to do what we're doing, is share our story. Hopefully you can relate, bring up some good topics, in that group, that Facebook group, and and we can all make a difference, and not just us two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, because we all need to. This whole world needs to start making a difference, and I believe it's happening.
Yeah.
I believe it's happening, and
I do too.
And I'm very optimistic of the future, even though the current world dynamics don't seem too promising.
Yeah.
And I think that brings up too of just taking our focus off of the world dynamics. Me and you both have been practicing this
Yes.
a lot, and it's just so funny how over time I don't even notice the world dynamics, and actually my own personal life. I'm getting more love in my life, more deeper relationships. I'm working on my passion projects. Things are happening for me.
Yeah. And we're not oblivious to what's going on. We're just not sort of lowering our vibration to match that.
Yeah.
We're not, I'll read the news, I'll read the topics and what's going on. And it's usually all the same stuff, just a different narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to stay informed, but I'm not having an emotional reaction to that, to where it pulls me into that fear, because it's a bunch of fear porn going on right now. And you bring your energy really low. That's one of the lowest vibrations is fear, shame, and guilt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you bring yourself down, but you stay in that love space. And yeah, you know what's going on, but is it affecting your day to day? Some people it really is affecting their day to day, and we need to hold space for them. But if you're not, don't let it affect you as deeply.
Yeah,
that's just our opinion. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I always think about too is the world has always been doing crazy stuff.
It's true.
It's just now we have so much access to media, and it's right in our face all the time.
Social media.
And we have these things in our pockets that are continually feeding it to us, and so I don't think anything is different now than how they have been, except for we have technology that informs us more, and all that information may or may not be true.
Yep.
And that's the thing when looking at anything, is you don't know the actual truth of what things are.
Yeah. That brings up something real quick.
Yeah.
The social media aspect of it, the authentic piece of that. You and I are from a different generation to where we didn't have it when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But now, our children, their children's children, these different generations have it as, I have to have so many likes, I have to have so many follows to feel self-worth. To feel that. And it's all a facade. It's all a mask. You see these people doing really well in the world, and they are, but they're not sharing their deep wounds, their deep problems, their deep issues, and all you're seeing is this fairy tale story.
Oh yeah, the surface level, not even. Let's go beyond surface level. Half the time, purely fake.
Purely fake, yes.
Purely fake. It's just like, oh, look at me in my happy world, and project that out to everybody.
Right.
But they don't have anyone in their life that they can be truly deep with.
But then what are our kids doing? What are the kids these days doing? Is they're comparing themselves to this facade that isn't even true.
Mm-hmm.
It's not authentic.
Oh no, that's the kids growing up right now with the social media. It's living authentically. They got a lot of work to do to get there because they're so enmeshed in the social media and what other people think of them.
Yep.
And like you said, comparing to this false image, you don't see when someone posts a picture on Facebook, you don't see their authentic life.
Right.
You're seeing what they want you to see.
Yep, their best version of themselves.
Their best version of themselves.
Or a fake version of themselves.
Well, now the filters and everything, it's to a point now where it's completely fake.
Right, yeah, I got wrinkles. I'm not... I heard them. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got wrinkles, I got gray.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Yeah, my son, he shared that with me. That's what spurred that conversation, is that this day and age is so wrapped up into social media. And social media can be a great thing, and it's a great thing for us because we're sharing a message out there, but it can also be a negative thing to where if I'm comparing myself and I'm not allowing to live my life through my own eyes, like I have a unique perspective, like we were talking in the first episode, like looking through my eyes, I'm the only person that's ever done that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't compare myself to other people. I shouldn't compare myself, but I need to be happy for those people. Hey, you're doing great. You went to Greece. Man, that's amazing. I would like to go there too. Another piece that ties into that, you said, well, love that part of that. Not being jealous of it, but to love them.
Be excited for them.
Be excited for them, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but practice that awareness, that consciousness. So it's weird how it all ties together.
It's great.
It is.
I love how this just natural flow, tying together things from episode to episode. Wow. Yeah. This is great.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So what else we got?
I have that quote at the end of the podcast, but do you want to? Does anything else come to mind?
Let's see. I don't know. It's feeling pretty. I feel like we hit a lot of good stuff. We've been talking a while.
Sure.
I know we hit all the main things we wanted to discuss.
Yep. You want to end it with a quote?
Let's end it with a quote, and then we'll do a couple announcements and things like that.
All right. So this is speaking to the vulnerability. So this comes from the Better Man Project. Vulnerability is terrifying. The courage it takes to reveal your heart is one of the most daunting and yet rewarding experiences in life. It will set you free. I just thought that really spoke to me. Because it is scary to be vulnerable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's terrifying. I like that. It's terrifying.
Nice. Yeah, so that concludes our episode
Episode
3.
three, yeah.
And yeah, I just want to give a couple announcements. Is we decided to change the channel over to Harmonic Studios.
Yep.
That's going to encompass all the things we're doing. So I'm also an artist, musician. Shane's a painter.
Yep.
And also comes up with some pretty cool poem quotes here and there that are great, and we just want to really make this share all parts of ourselves on this channel. So we decided to put it all together. I'll also be teaching some qigong kind of stuff. I love qigong and figure this is a good way to share it, and eventually I have the vision of bringing other artists and like giving people exposure through this channel.
Yeah. Let them come on the channel and actually promote their ideas and what they're trying to do, because it's all about betterment of all of us, not just you and I.
Yeah. So it's time for us all to come together. Like,
Right.
Can we all work together and share what everyone's doing?
So can I share that quote that you spoke about?
Yeah.
So this came to me. I really feel like Source gave this to me. It didn't come from my mind. It just came from the knowing and how it felt. So as a stone in a stream is smoothened by the gentle flow of the water, the masculine's rigid edges are softened by the loving flow of the feminine.
That just sends tingles in my
Yeah,
body.
it does.
That's a good one.
It's good.
Uh-huh.
I think that needs to be our flagship for the channel.
Oh, This is true.
But just the rigidity, that rigid masculine that we have, our sharpness, even the way we talk can get flown, that soften those edges with that feminine that we accept in our own lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And water,
Water's a very feminine force.
be water, my friend.
Be water.
Bruce Lee.
Oh, back to the other quote. Wow. Circling it around.
It all comes full circle.
Any more announcements?
We're going to be releasing 2 a week now, so we'll have, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah.
have 2 episodes. Not sure on the days exactly yet, but we'll be releasing twice a week now with 2 different, obviously episode 3 and 4 will be released this week. And we're going to try that. We've changed our recording to Sunday, so we have more time to work on the content.
More time and energy.
Sure.
Like, I feel much better today doing
Yeah,
this.
when we did that Q&A, we were both tired.
I know, doing this after work is just not a thing. Seems like, oh yeah. And then the other thing is, if you made it to the end, oh my God, I love you. Thank you so much for watching us all the way through. Please be sure, again, to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Yeah.
It helps us out a lot. We want to reach as many people as we can, get this messages out there to help everyone around that's struggling with these issues.
And if you have any topics you'd like us to discuss, we'll definitely talk about it and see what comes. We really are inspired throughout the week of what our topic's going to be, what's really genuine with us going on in that week. So that's how we come about our topics usually. But yeah, let us know. And check us out on that Facebook group.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think that's that.
That's it.
So I think we can